Okay, so this is our third and final orientation video. Thank you guys for sticking with all of this. So right now, if you're watching this video, you've already found the portion of our site. This is what we call the LMS/CMS, stands for Learning Management System, Content Management Systems. Sometimes you may just hear it called the LMS. You may hear it called any combination of those items. But you can see right off the top, this top section is kind of used for announcements, things like that don't necessarily fit into any chapter. But whenever you log into the page, you're going to start here. So I will make it a point if I have any announcements or anything or anything specific you guys need to check out. You'll see it right here at the top. I don't know if you guys have checked it out or not, and there are none in there now. But if I have news announcements, I will post them here in this link. You guys will receive an email alerting you that there's a new announcement. So you don't have to worry about actively checking that. You'll see that email, which will alert you of the announcement anyway. And if I forget at the end, once we're done with our video here with our LMS CMS orientation, please take a moment for me and do this new student survey. Should only take you a couple minutes. It gives me an idea where our class stands coming into the class. I can sort of gauge my approach depending on what you guys know or don't know. No wrong answers there, of course. So right off the bat, we see a bunch of categories down here, right? Essentially, each one of these blue boxes represents a chapter or a block or a lesson. So in our intro, they have some information here. I don't think you guys have to worry too much with this. I'm going to explain most of that as we go through. But you can see here, you can click on any lesson and it expands it, and you can see everything that's within that lesson. And I'm going to jump to what I'll call a typical lesson that has a little bit of everything. So let's go down here to lesson 105. Right off the bat, they're going to give us a purpose. What's the purpose of this lesson? But then right below that, you're going to see, and we'll go back and click on this, but you're going to see the IEC Student Manual Webbook. So we talked about your student manual textbook. This also exists online. These links will take you directly to the appropriate chapter for each lesson. So if we actually go into that link, we can see that it opens up. Looks just like your textbook. Lesson 105, we can page through, and we can actually read it here on the computer if you wish. You can read it out of your textbook, whatever you prefer, whatever works best for you guys. But every chapter is copied identically here on this web book. New for this year, we have an audio book. This is brand new. I really haven't checked it out myself. I don't know what type of learners everybody is, but if you think that's effective, feel free to use it. It could be a great tool. Below this, we see this homework section, and I alluded to this in the previous video. This basically tells you, again, you guys aren't doing homework because this is a self-paced course. You guys are going to be doing, it's all just work, right? Not necessarily homework, classwork. But this tells you what you need to do for a given chapter. I'm showing you this in its original form, but I'm going to clean this up by the time you guys get in here because I really don't like the way they made some changes this year, and I just don't like the way it comes across. But basically for this lesson, they want us to complete objectives 105, 1A, all the way down through 105.4. So essentially that's all the worksheets that we would have in your student workbook, which we also have here, which I'll show you guys in a moment. But notice they didn't tell us to read anything particular for chapter 105, right? It says read 106. Again, they expect that an in-person student comes to class having already read the content for this chapter. So actually, if we go back up here to 104 now, that's where they actually tell us to read 105 and actually complete the reading worksheet as well. That's kind of a knowledge check. I'm going to restructure this for you guys by the time you get in here so that when you go into lesson 105, for instance, it's going to tell you to read lesson 105. Okay? And then it's going to say which worksheets to complete as a part of 105. So you guys don't have to guess. This is going to end up being different than what's in the textbook. What's on this site is going to be what takes precedence. Forget about what's in the textbook on that first page of the chapter. What's under this section And in fact, I'm actually going to change this name as well from homework. But what's in this green section is essentially what you guys have to do for any chapter. Why am I making such a big deal of this? Well, the reason is, if you notice here, read lesson 106 and then read EWR chapter 2. So for lesson 106, that tells me for our next chapter, 106, we have to read lesson 106 in our student manual, and we have to read out of the EWR book chapter 2. Okay, well, I don't have to do that till lesson 106. Here's my problem. If I go to 106, nowhere does it tell me to read anything from the EWR. I would have to refer back to 105 to realize that. So long story short, what's in your textbook matches this. It's confusing. This is going to be simplified for you guys so you know exactly what to do. What is in this green box is exactly what you need to read for any given lesson. Okay, so moving on down from that, they list some objectives here. That's good stuff. Your next section is going to be what I call instructor uploads. Okay, for every lesson, with a few exceptions, I'm going to post some kind of video. A lot of times it's me explaining some material. Usually I'll take what I think is the most hard to understand or most complicated portion, and they're never any longer than 15 minutes. And I'll put a video up there. That's almost always your first link. So this link is a video of me talking about resistance, power, and then our blueprints. For this particular lesson, there's some blueprints that come with your book, and you'll hear all about it in the video. But I'm giving you a link to download those plans digitally. So maybe there's some extra content for the lesson. That's where I'm going to put that. And then I just like to put, I just call it an extra. I find a lot of articles, pictures, videos, things that I think are interesting to, electricians or apprentices. Sometimes they pertain to the lesson. Sometimes, I just think they're interesting. Listen, they're not part of the curriculum. You're under no obligation to even spend any time looking at it. And you're never going to be tested on any of this stuff. I just find it interesting, and I want to share with somebody. And I think it's fun. So that's what's under that extra tab. But this instructor uploads is stuff that I find that I want you guys to see. It's stuff that I've made that I found. So other classes aren't seeing this. This is particular to us and our class. It's what I felt was pertinent for this lesson. Next chapter down, you're going to see videos in this yellow tab. These are videos that the IEC attaches to the content. I didn't have anything to do with creating them or finding them. Most of them are fairly short, so take some time, watch through those. This next review section, this is all tools to help you guys review. There's no I won't even know that you guys went to these or not. There's no official grade. They've got some quizzes, but again, it's all practice, it's all review. These are all just tools for you guys to use. So take some time, play around with them. There's some good stuff there. But down here in worksheets, this is really where the bulk of the work is. So not only do you guys have to read the content that's described, but you've also got to complete these worksheets. And I know this looks like a ton. Some worksheets are very short. But as a part of each lesson, you guys are expected to complete these worksheets. I mentioned in the grades portion of the last video, your grade is made up of 25% homework. This is what's officially considered homework. Again, you guys can work on this in school, at home. I don't care when or where you do it. But these worksheets make up the homework portion of your grade. Because this is technically homework, you're given 2 opportunities for each of these worksheets. It will only record your highest grade. To me, this is the practice. This is you guys putting in the work. So again, 2 attempts, your highest grade of the 2 is what is kept for your actual grade. Then we move down to this comprehension quiz. That's going to be a 10-point quiz, 10-question quiz. You have 1 opportunity. That's me pulling what I think are the 10 most relevant questions and quizzing you guys. You have 1 attempt. All those questions actually come from these worksheets. So if you take the time to do these worksheets, these comprehension quizzes should be fairly easy for everybody. Okay, so that's essentially your content, right? Check the green box. What does it say for us to do? Come down here and do all of the worksheets under worksheets. Fill out the comprehension quiz. That's a lesson. Lesson done, on to the next one, right? So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and sort of close this up. A couple other things I want to point out to you guys. You're going to see over here participants section. If you click on there, you'll see all the participants in the class. There are other schools participating, so you're going to see apprentices from other schools as well. Right now, we don't have any students logged in. You're going to see, I don't know if you guys have met our apprenticeship coordinator Christy or our executive director Marissa, but they're in the class here. You probably won't see them on the class often. Here is me as the instructor. I do have a student account. That's what I'm looking at now, just for purposes of showing you guys these videos. But if you guys need to reach out to me, you're going to go to your participants section, and you guys can actually send me a message in the class. So click on me, and then we can simply send a message, right? Just like a chat room. That's a great way to talk to me as well. I do get alerts in my email. Same for you guys. If I talk to one of you through this message service, you'll get an alert in your email, as well as a little icon up here will come up telling you have a message. So if I work my way back here, back to our main page, I'm going to show you guys the grade book as well. So over here you have this section called grades. And you're going to see here, it's kind of a long, meandering grade book, but so basically the whole year is shown here, right? So that encompasses a first semester and a second semester grade. So for our first semester is made up of your homework, and here lists every single homework that's a part of first semester. We go all the way down, and it'll give you a homework total. Then we get down to quizzes. It lists all the quizzes that are a part of first semester, and then we get a quiz total. We're going to have a midterm exam. I split it up into 3 parts. It's intended to be a 3-hour test. I figure you guys can do it over 3 class periods if you wish. But it'll do all 3 parts of your midterm, give you a midterm total. Same story for the final. Then we get a first semester total. And then we just repeat that for the second semester. So as you guys complete worksheets, you'll start to see them automatically filled in here as you go. That'll give you an idea of what your grade is. Again, it's kind of a long, meandering grade book, but try to bear with it. I think it makes pretty good sense. If you ever get to another page here and you want to get back to your main page, don't click on the home button. Click on this name of your class. That'll bring you right back to this page. If you click home, it actually takes you to the first page after you sign on. Not a big deal. You guys only have 1 class, so you can just jump right back in. You can see I have a couple different classes, so now I got to figure out which class I really want to be in and go back to it. But anyway, this is kind of your home button at this point. So again, this is that was a crash course in the LMS. I think as we work through, it's hopefully pretty self-explanatory. The biggest things are when you get to your lesson, check this green box. That's going to tell you everything you need to complete for that lesson. And really, you're just going to work your way through. As long as you guys complete the worksheets, complete the quiz, you'll be sure to have everything completed. And then one last final piece I want to talk about. We do have a schedule that I put together for the first semester. I'll do the same for second semester. And now I want to stress this schedule is not a example of any hard deadlines. In fact, all of our course content really doesn't have any due dates. You guys just have to be sure that it's done by the end of your marking period, your semester, your grading period, the end of the year, whatever the case is. So nothing on that we've just looked at, none of these worksheets, none of these quizzes have any official deadline. But this is kind of represents an average of all of our schools who are participating. This is an average schedule. Some of you might look at this and say, wait a minute, I start before September 8th or after, whatever. I'm looking at this as basically a minimum. I want you guys to maintain this schedule as a minimum. If you can get ahead of it, I very strongly suggest you do. Because you'll see on there, we only have about 4 days dedicated to each chapter. I think many of you actually have more school days than I have built in here. Which is why I say this should be a minimum. Because if you guys have more school days to work on this, you should be actually working ahead. It will be very difficult if you do get behind to sort of get yourself back up to speed. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. It happens every year. So again, I highly encourage everybody to work ahead of this schedule, and don't let it be the end all be all. Work as fast as you can, get towards that end date. I know you'll thank yourselves moving forward for sure. Okay, so that was a lot I just threw at you, but here again, if you've made it this far, I think you're pretty far along. And again, any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always checking the email, always checking the phone, or reach out to your school administrators, your teachers, and they know where to find me as well. All right, so with that, everybody, good luck, have fun.